Okay, good morning, and welcome everybody to class. Welcome to a brand new week and a brand new journey. This journey we are starting today is going to lead to incredible results and is going to get you started in a lot of practicality in the field of tech. This is a webmaster class, and this webmaster class is a class that is actually designed to give you an understanding of the web and the internet and give you practical skills to understand how the web works and how to create web pages. Okay, so this particular class will provide you with a lot of understanding about servers, about domain names, about email servers, how to configure email servers, and a whole lot. And the most important part is how to build world-class web pages. If you are here with me and I'm audible, please say something in the chat. Welcome. Say something in the chat. If you are ready for this class, let me know. Today is going to be wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am so glad to be here, and you do not want to miss what we have. We are starting a journey that will take us to greater heights. We are starting a journey that is going to produce incredible results and expand your knowledge so much. By the end of this webmaster class, you will be able to put up any web page that's you are required to do so. I'm going to show you a sample of the website we are going to be working on, and then we will start from the basics, the beginning, and get right into it. So let me share this with you, and I'm going to start from here. And over here, you are seeing a website for a university, and this website was created with WordPress, and this is a university's website. The reason I'm showing you this is that after this training, you are going to be able to design this website that you see here. You are going to be able to design this website. Will you be happy if you alone can create a website like this for a university from start to finish? If you be happy, let me see in the chat. Will you be happy if you alone by yourself will be able to create this website for a university from start to finish? This means acquiring the domain name for the university. This means securing the web server for the university. And this also means designing everything you see for it to function like this for the university. All right. I'm going to show you the next website here, which is another sample project we are going to be working on. So this is a sample we have taken for corporate websites. And I'm showing you this sample to let you understand that after this particular training, you are going to be able to build a website for every company. This is a webmaster class, and the purpose of this class is to help you create websites. So we are going to learn a lot about websites, what they are and how they are made, and give you the practical skills to create websites. So this is going to be the beginning of our practical trainings, our apprenticeship model training, our practical skills training. And when we are done with this training, you can create this. All right. By yourself, you can create this website and a website for any company. We will understand the difference between websites and web applications. And you will know that websites are a little different when we say website. Even though web applications are also referred to as websites, we have what we call websites and we have web applications. And so this is a website. And so when we are done, you can create this. Everything you see here, you can create. Okay. I've been creating websites professionally since 2005. My first website I created was for an NGO called WADREC, West African District Resolution Council. It is an NGO that resolves legal issues across Africa. That was my first real project that I worked on. After that, I worked on TV3's website, a nationwide website. And since 2005 till now, how many years has it been? How many years has it been? After TV3, I've built websites for over 500 companies across Africa. I've built websites for over 500 companies across Africa. And I've been the designer of Ghana's #1 website, myjournalline.com. MyJournalline.com is Ghana's #1 website. Okay, so I'm in Ghana, so I'm talking about Ghana's #1 website. Sometimes people say Ghana Web is Ghana's #1 website, but you have to understand that Ghana Web does not is not a Ghanaian website. The owner of Ghana Web is not a Ghanaian, is someone from Netherlands, and he just took advantage and registered the domain Ghana Web, and he also registered for other countries, and he started putting up content and appearing to be from that country, and he succeeded. All right. And so even though there are some Ghanaians working on Ghana Web is not a Ghanaian website. Okay. So undoubtedly, Ghana's #1 website is myjournalline.com. If you're in Ghana, you've heard of myjournalline.com. If you are not in Ghana, you've heard of Ghana, well, myjournalline.com. And I asked you that since 2005 till now, how many years has it been? And I've not seen anything in the chat. I don't know if it's my network or no one has typed anything in the chat. Probably it's my network, but now I see 19 years. So since 2005 till now, it has been 19 good years. And so if someone with 19 years of experience is telling you that he is going to train you and you too can build websites, you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, then you need some deliverance. After this training, you're also going to build e-commerce websites. You are going to build e-commerce websites. You can create websites. We may not build this exact one, but you'll be able to build an e-commerce website where you can sell products online. All right. It is part of the training. This is a practical training that we are going to go through. And so all the tools you require, you are supposed to have them available, and we'll give you the information as we progress and as we proceed. And you're also going to be given a web server, and the web server you are going to be given, you are going to be able to manage the web server and take full control of the server and understand how web servers are handled, how the databases are handled, how the file server is handled, how emails are handled, all the various configurations on the server and all that. You have full access to work with them. The only thing is that you have to acquire your own address, and with your address, you will be able to manage your own website. And so you are going to build your own projects on your own website. And one of the most interesting websites is what we call magazine websites or news and blog websites. This website here, after this training, you'll be able to create this website. All right. You'll be able to create this website. Now, the training style that we are going to give you is not for you to write all the code, okay? But this is going to quick start you into coding websites, all right? So if you are into web development, if you are into if you're interested in writing code for websites, as a beginner, this will set a good foundation for you to understand what the output of a great website should be and how you should write code to achieve a great website in the end. Okay, so this is what we are going to work on this. By the time we are done with this project, you can create a news website. When I say news websites, what do I mean? I mean websites like BBC.com, websites like CNN, website, any news websites. And as a matter of fact, after this training, those kinds of websites are the easiest to create. All right. They are the easiest to create. And so you'll be able to create a website to share news and to blog about yourself and whatever you want to. And I also want you to understand that when it comes to generating revenue from the internet, this is the type of websites that generate revenue. Okay. In the course of the training, you are going to learn this with understanding so that you know how to go about it so that you don't just start something that you can't see through. Yes. So, what I mean by generating revenue is that there are some websites that make money. Okay. There are some websites they do not make money. For example, MTN's website doesn't make any money for them. But my Joy Online website makes 2 million Ghana cedis a year. 2 million Ghana cedis is like 2 million Ghana. How much will it be in dollars? 2 million Ghana cedis should be close to, let me just say about $150,000, maybe $150,000. Let's just put it there. So every year that website makes that. If you divide it by 12, is it 2 million Ghana? Someone should convert it for me. If you're in Ghana and you can convert Ghana cedis to 2 million uh, dollars, 2 million Ghana cedis, you let me know in dollars. All right. So how is it that they make money online? They make money with their website. So the website you see, Manje Online, there's a lot of team behind it, and the website is a company on its own. It's a division of multimedia group, and the website alone generates a lot of revenue for the company. All right. So you understand what it means for a website to generate revenue, how it is done, and you can also start such a website and run it if you wish to do so, and it is going to generate revenue for you. All right. Ghana Web. Why is Ghana Web still running after 20 something years? Ghana Web makes a lot of money, probably more than my job online. Okay. It is because of the type of website they are running, and they are running a website like this. All right. So when we get there, you'll be told how all of these are done. And if you are following, let me see in the chat that I'm following. Let me see in the chat that I'm following. Um, when Facebook started, you don't pay money when you visit Facebook, but when you check the revenue of Facebook, you realize that Facebook was making a lot of money. And up to today, Facebook makes a lot of money. Okay. So let's say how much does Facebook make a day? Let's check this. If you check this online anywhere, you can see that this how much they made in last year, but I want to check daily revenue. Daily revenue. So let me just click here and see if we'll get information. All right. If we don't get it, we move on. That's not what I really want to talk about. So I'm just telling you that there are some websites, they make money. So when Facebook started running, the reason Facebook became successful is that Facebook makes money from their website. Okay. So how is it that they make money? So we are going to look at all of that. All right. So you will see okay, so we should probably find this information somewhere. They are given in quarters. But when you check, you are going to see that Facebook makes a lot of money. Okay, so you can see here the daily profit averages around 1.4 billion, maybe a little less, but Facebook makes a lot of money. How is it that Facebook makes a lot of money? You are going to discover that through this training. And the most important part of this training is this. After this training, you should be able to have clients that you build website for. Okay, you should be able to have clients that you build websites for. And when we are done with this training, you are going to work on two major website projects from start to finish. And these two projects would also serve as your portfolio website so that you can also attract clients, because when a client wants to see what you have done before, they want to see something. So you can use them as portfolio website. And to help you cement the skills, at the end of this training, you are going to be taxed. You are going to be taxed. Apart from the projects that you work on, you are going to be taxed to find a real client and build a website for. The goal is to cement your skills, because there's a difference between working on a project for school and serving a real client. There's a difference between that. All right. And so you'll be tasked to look for a school, look for a church, look for a company, any organization that you can build a website for, a hotel, a supermarket. Find a company, okay? And you are going to help them get a website that you are going to work on. All right. You are going to work on. And that will help you cement your skills. I know what I'm telling you. I've done this for a very long time. Okay. There's a difference between learning and working on projects and serving a real client. All right. So once you serve a real client, it is going to help you. So all the structures you need, you'll be given in this particular training. And what is going to happen is that you are going to find a client, you are going to charge them, you are going to work on it, finish the project, and you are going to make money out of that. And after that training, you should be able to start making money on the side by building websites and web applications. Now, this particular training has a lot to offer you, and the kind of experience you get from this particular training helps you understand so many things and prepares you for the tech field in general. That is why it is so important that we go through this training, because it is going to expose you to a whole lot, And after this training, we are going to work on a web development fundamentals training. And in the web development fundamentals training, we are going to work on real projects as well. All right, real projects as well. So use this opportunity to learn and to work on your projects and to find a client. It's going to be a requirement for you to find a client. It can be a school, it can be a church. If you don't want to charge much, we'll give you how the charges and everything should go, but you can charge less. The only thing is for you to work for somebody. Okay. It doesn't matter how much you charge, but for you to work for somebody, for the purpose of you getting the experience you need to move forward. Please, if you understand all that I've said, let me see in the chat that I understand, and we'll be able to get started. If you can, if you understand all that I have said, let me see in the chat. I understand. I understand. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to begin everything, and to start, I'm going to play two short clips, and they are just intro clips. They don't have much meaning. They are just intro clips, and after that, I'm going to share my presentation, and we will begin. All right. I've done web design for so long. Okay. So rest assured you are in the right hands. If you're a beginner, don't worry. If you have any question, please ask, because this is a practical training, a real training, hands-on training. So we are going to get started right away. And I'm happy to announce that we created certificates for the cybersecurity fundamentals training. I don't know if you have seen it. This morning, you will all be receiving certificate for the cybersecurity fundamentals training. I believe you've received. Did you see the certificate? I just want to ask that. Did you see the certificate? All right, it's going to be shared. Sonia will share it with you. Ah, okay. Then some of you came late. Sonia is going to share it with you, and there's going to be a QR code on the certificate for verification. And so when you get your certificate, kindly scan the QR code and check if it will reveal the certificate on your phone. If it does not, you send an email to us and we'll fix it for you. But hopefully all of you, once you scan your QR code, you are going to see your certificates on your phone for the purpose of verification. So let me share this with you. And after it ends, I'm going to start speaking. There are two short clips. Immediately it ends, I'll start speaking.
Audio Jungle. 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 Audio Jungle.
All right, so welcome to the Web Masterclass with WordPress. And in this class, we are going to learn and understand how the web works. There are over 1 billion websites on the World Wide Web. These websites are powered by massive web servers and data centers that run 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. These data centers and web servers operate all the time without going up. There are web servers that have run for the past 20 years without even shutting down. And these servers in these data centers keep the web running. These websites shape the web and are the sources of all the information we find online. The number of websites we have online every second. And every second, a new website is created. Ever since the first website was created on August 6, 1991, website creators are valued as people who connect the world and are highly sought after. Without website creators, the world cannot connect online. And so having the skills to create websites means having the ability to connect the world. These website designers and developers control everything on the internet, and they are referred to as webmasters. Please put webmasters in the chat for me. We are talking about the Web Masterclass, and we are going to talk about webmasters and how to become a webmaster. After this training, you are going to be a webmaster. When you hear the term webmaster, it refers to an individual who oversees the management of a website, including its content creation, registering of the domain, addressing errors, and providing site design and functionalities. Welcome to an exciting journey. And like I said previously, this journey is going to give you practical skills and real experience in the field of web design. As I begin my class, I want you to understand that if you have a skill, practically, you have a future. If you have a skill, you have a future. If you have a skill and you lose every property you have, let me tell you, you can build your life again. If they take everything away from you, everything you own, you can build your life again because they cannot take your skills away. Your skills are part of you. And so if you have a skill, you have a future. If you have no skill, then you are on your way to poverty. And so learning this is actually a skill. What we are going to cover in these 4 weeks will be to develop a real practical skill that we can add to our knowledge. This particular course is designed into 4 modules. The first module is going to talk about domains. And so we are going to understand how we have domain names and how we create website addresses. For you to have a website, the first step is to have the address, all right? So we are going to understand the business of how website addresses come up. We call them domain names. How we have domain names, what they are, how to control them, how to register them, how to renew them, how to transfer them, and all that you should understand about domain names. After that, we'll move to module 2 and we'll talk about web hosting. So for the first 3 days, we'll be talking about domains. And if we finish early, we can still move straight to module 2. And module 2, we'll be talking about web hosting. And that is where we are going to be introduced to web servers and how websites are kept online, how we put designs on the web, how we do all of that, we are going to look at that over here. And it also comes with a very basic HTML training, which I believe you know already. And then module 3 will tell us about email servers and email server configuration and email protocols like IMAP, POP3, and SMTP for us to understand these protocols that allow emails to be transferred and build some background in computer networking and protocols to understand how uh, emails and messages are transferred online. Then in module 4, we move straight into hands-on web designing, where we will start building the project from scratch and we will learn how the website are built. So we'll go through all of these details. We understand. We'll start with introducing websites and then introducing domains, and we'll talk about various domain extensions and how domains work. We'll talk about having a national level domain because in Ghana we have .gh. .gh is our national level domain, and we have websites that end with .com.gh. We have universities that end with .edu.gh. We have organizations that have .org.gh, and so Nigeria you have .ng. I'd like to know for the various countries. Nigeria is .ng. South Africa, what do you use? All the other countries, I don't know what you have, but how to acquire a national level domain. All right. So thank you all for sharing, and we will look at all of that. So Kenya.ke, wonderful, wonderful. Yes. So thank you. .ug for Uganda. South Africa is South Africa, I think it's .za. Is it .za? South Africa. Timothy, is it .za? Zimbabwe.zw. All right. So we are going to look at all of that. Okay. So we are starting from scratch and we are learning the skills of how all of these things are done practically. And this particular training is also designed like a business training because after this, you are supposed to have all the tools to register any company. And so we will be learning about domain registrars and we will be learning how you can be a domain registrar. And after the training, how you yourself can register any company. All right. So if you want to have a client, the client needs a website address. How do we get it? You are the one who is going to do it. So you are going to find out how that is done. All right. So I'm going to get started talking about domains. Please type domains in the chat for me. That is module 1, and I'm starting now. Type domains in the chat for me. Domains, domains, domains. Please type domains in the chat for me. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, what is a website? What is a website? What is a website? What is a website? I think I need one person to tell us what a website is. If you know what a website is, please raise your hand and tell us what is a website. Okay, I just need somebody to tell us what a website is. What is a website? We've been hearing websites. We know websites. You already know it. I'm not trying to confuse you. What is a website? Okay. So we have Paul. Paul, try unmuting and tell us what a website is. Just tell us what a website is. Everybody knows it already. We just want to hear it. What is a website?
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Can I be
We
heard?
can hear you. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right.
Are you
For
Paul? Are you
me, I
not in
think a
Nigeria?
website is more of like your online office space.
Okay.
I
Okay.
said a website is like your online office space.
All right. So like on your online office space. That's wonderful. Any other, what is a website? Any other person? Your online office space. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yes, you can put it in the chat. But I'll be happy if I can get one more person to add their voice to it. What is a website? What is a website? So let me see some people type in the chat. But if you want to speak to, you just raise your hand. I'm going to call you and allow you to speak. Tell us what a website is. what is a website? What is a website? In this training, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to help you understand. Okay. So if you have some knowledge already, let's work together and help everybody to acquire this because we are going to go through a lot of processes and have the understanding that we need to have an all-round experience in putting up websites. Okay. So a website gives information about a person, an organization, etc., etc. All right. So that's wonderful. So let's talk about what a website is. I'm going to give a very scenario-based definition, and then I'll give you an actual definition of a website. And after this, we'll be talking about the difference between a web application and a website. Okay. So when you say a website, we have what a website is. All right. So let's begin. Now, this is a non-technical scenario-based explanation. All right. Now, we all know what a brochure is. You can see this brochure over here. When you go to a bank, you can see that the bank has a brochure, and the brochure has some information about them. All right. So if you read the brochure, you can read information about the company. You can read information about their contacts, their services, some of their projects, and some particular um, products they are offering. You can read about it in a brochure. Okay. So a brochure provides you general information about a company. Sometimes a company can have a brochure that talks about them. Okay. Other time, a company can have a brochure that talks about a product they are launching. This time I'm talking about a brochure that talks about the company. All right. So this particular brochure, you can see that the company logo is here. They put here about what they do. There's a photo and their website address is here. When you open it, you see all these details. When you turn the back, you see all of this, and you get to get a lot of information about a company. So when we say a website is an online brochure that represents an organization on the internet. A website is an online brochure. What do we mean by that? If you visit a company's website, what you are going to do is to find out information about them. Is to find out information about them. Okay. So you land on their homepage, you see their logo, you see some banners flying around. Um, you see, let's say, their services. Okay. You see their services, you see their products, and you see their contact. Okay. So let's visit one website and let's use it as an example. So let's just go online together and let's find a site. I don't have any site in mind, but let's find a website of a company just to explain the point. So I like to explain everything in the simplest ways as possible so that we understand what we are talking about. So let me share my browser and we'll go ahead and talk about what a website is in general. So let's look for a website. So let's think of a company. Let's think of a company. Let's think of let's say we have Cal Bank in Ghana. It just came to mind. So when you go to CalBank, this is their website. You see that it's on an address called calbank.net. Once you open to CalBank, CalBank is going to open. The website is going to open. And what you see here is a website. All right. They have a web application connected to it, but this is a website. Now, what do you find when you visit this website? You get to see information about the company, just like Paul said, their address. Okay. So here you can see that they are announcing an event. So if there's any announcement, they put it there on their website. They have a beautiful homepage where you get a lot of information about them, their services, and various features. All right. So what you are seeing is a website. not necessarily a web application. Sometimes you get news about them and all that. Okay. So this is a website. And this is one page of the website. When I go to the menu or navigation bar, I get to see a lot of other services they provide. If I want to find about us, I get to see information about who they are. So when I go to who we are, I get to see information about them. So this, what we are going through is actually like a brochure. This is a brochure, but a brochure online. If it were to be a print brochure, you would have seen it in that paper, folded paper, and you'll be flipping through to learn about the company. All right. So this is what we mean when we say a website. And every company needs a website. There is no company that doesn't need a website. Every company needs a website. So, like Paul said, it is your online office. You need to have an office online. If you're a company and you don't yet have an office online, then you are not done with the setup of your company. In the United States, every company is online. Every company has a website. Every single company has a website. In Africa, about 8% of companies are online. This means that there are a lot of businesses that are yet to go online, and there are a lot of companies that are looking for web designers and those who can put them online. This training is about how you can put a company online. A website is an online brochure that represents an organization online. So this is a definition for what a website is. A website is a group of related pages that is identified by a single domain name and published on at least one web server. If you search for the definition of a website, this is what you'll be told. Why will you be told this? Because when it comes to websites, to create websites, it's all about creating web pages. All right, please type web pages in the chat for me. Type web pages in the chat for me. Now, the first time we visited this website, we landed on their homepage. Okay, their homepage is their first web page. Okay, so every website has one page that is the most attractive and the most well-designed page that has almost all the information about the company. Okay, we call it the homepage. And the homepage is also the page that provides you with links. These links, we call them hyperlinks. It provides you with hyperlinks on the navigation bar for you to access other pages. For example, when I click here, let me go to About Us, and I click on this Who We Are. What is happening right now is that on the home page, there is this link that has been created with JavaScript and CSS that allows it to just pop up when you click on it. But the popping up is all part of the design. It could have been just there for you to click. But when you click on this, on the status bar over here, you can see that a URL will appear over here when I put my mouse on it. You can see the URL appear over there. That URL tells you that once you click on this, you are sending a GET request to the server, and the server is going to load another web page. If I click here, the server will respond and give me another web page. That particular web page will come with a different information about Cowbank. All right. So when you are browsing a website, for you, you are clicking on links and you are browsing seamlessly. But the fact is that on the server that is keeping the website up, there are only web pages that are on the server. And on each page, there is a link to other pages. When I click on this, I am requesting for another page, and that page will also be loaded onto me. So what do we mean by a website? When we talk about websites, we are talking about web pages coming together under a single domain. For example, we are on a domain called carbank.net. You can see it down here, carbank.net. On carbank.net, we have web page 1, web page 2, web page 5, web page 6, all on carbank.net. All right. This means that I can click on any link and request for any other page that I want. They are all under the same domain name. This page is also under the same domain name. And so when all the pages come together, then we have a website. All right. So over here, you can see that there are different pages. These pages are not independent of themselves. They are not separated. They are not different pages on different domains. All right. For you to call it a website, all these pages are under the domain name for the company. For example, when you go to raterafrica.com, that is our domain name. On that, you can get a page for admissions. You can get a page for about us. You can get a page for data analytics. You can get a page for cybersecurity. All these are web pages that we designed. And when we are done, we link all of them with the links you find on the menu. And so together, they form what we call a website. So a web page is a single page of a website. And every web page is intentionally designed to be suitable for the World Wide Web and a web browser. So when you learn how to design websites, what you are actually going to be designing are web pages. All right. You design different web pages, and then you create a navigation bar to link all the web pages. That is how it is done. Now, what is the World Wide Web? Please type www in the chat for me. Please type www in the chat for me. This stands for the World Wide Web, the World Wide Web. So when we say www, it stands for the World Wide Web. Now, to do that, I'm going to talk about the person who created the World Wide Web. On August 6, 1991, Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web. And he also created the first website ever that was created. This particular website, they have decided to leave it, that it should be there till today. So this is the address of the first website. Please type this in the chat for me. And if you are to visit this link, this domain, you are going to find the first ever website that was created. So this is a man who invented the World Wide Web and who is also the founder of W3C Consortium and the creator of the first ever website, Tim Berners-Lee. Please type his name in the chat for me. Tim Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee. When we learn about Python, we learned about Guido van Rossum, and they are great people who have done great things in our time. And Tim Berners-Lee is the one who created the World Wide Web, and he founded a consortium that manages the World Wide Web. And he also created the very first website. Now, what at all is the World Wide Web? When we say www, what at all is the World Wide Web? We are going to discover that the internet is different from the World Wide Web. When we say the internet, it is not the same as the web. When you say World Wide Web, you can abbreviate it and just say the web. So the World Wide Web is also referred to as www, of course, World Wide Web, www, or we can refer to it as W3. Please type W3 in the chat for me, W3. W3 stands for the World Wide Web. And it is simply known as the web. So the moment you say the web, you are talking about the World Wide Web. And the World Wide Web is not the same as the internet. The World Wide Web is not the same as the internet. The World Wide Web is accessed using the internet. The web is accessed using the internet. But the World Wide Web is not the internet. Let me take a moment and share something brief with you about what the internet is. And then we will have that understanding to talk about the World Wide Web. Before I share this with you, let me tell you a little bit about it first, and then I'll share the details with you. First off, you need to understand that the internet, like I said, is not the same as the web. So what is the internet? If you study computer networking, you are going to discover that it is possible to connect two computers together for them to share resources. These two computers can talk to each other. They can share information. All right. How do we connect two computers together? The first thing to do, or the most common thing to do, is to use a cable. A cable we call the Ethernet cable. Ethernet cable. Please, if you can hear me, type Ethernet cable. I didn't say internet cable. I said Ethernet cable. Ethernet cable. Ethernet cable. Please type that in the chat for me. Ethernet cable. I'm holding this cable here. This is an Ethernet cable. I'm sure you recognize this cable, right? I'm sure you recognize this cable, right? Awesome, awesome. So this cable here is a short one I'm holding. It is referred to as an Ethernet cable. All right, some people call it a LAN cable or network cable, no problem. Now, with this particular cable, you can connect two computers, and this is all you need. Please listen to me. This is all you need if you want to connect two computers. This is all you need. Now, you plug one end into the Ethernet port of computer one and the other end into the Ethernet port of computer two. The next thing you do is to do some very, very simple IP configuration. Give an IP to computer one, give an IP to computer two, and you can connect. So from computer one, you can talk to computer two. What do we mean by that? You can share information, send data to computer two, receive data from computer one. As a matter of fact, you can open computer two on computer one. And you can open computer one on computer two if you give permission. All right. So this is how networking is done. Now, this type of network is referred to as a peer-to-peer network. That is a network between only two computers. All right. We also have a type of network that connects all the companies within, all the computers within a company. This means that from the CEO's office, he can contact the computer of the receptionist or can contact the computer of the IT staff or the marketing staff. This means that all the computers in the company are connected. Please listen to this. Now, if that is done, you need more devices to make it possible. Okay? You need more devices to make that possible. So you need to have something we call, let me show you this just to build the right understanding. All right. So let me share this and then you will get to see this. And once we set the foundation, we will get started over here. All right. So if you study computer networking, you are going to learn about networking devices. All right. Now, this device that my mouse is on, what is the name of this device? Please type it in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. If you can see, what's the name of this device? It's a switch. Thank you so much. Now, this particular switch is a difference between, this is what makes it possible for several computers to connect to each other. Now, a switch will come with a number of ports. This particular switch, if you check, we have about 24 ports here. This means that this switch can allow 24 computers to talk to each other. How do they do that? Instead of connecting the Ethernet cable from computer 1 to computer 2, you connect the Ethernet cable from computer 1 to the switch, from computer 2 to the switch, from computer 3 to the switch. So you get to computer 23, all of them will connect to the switch. This means that the switch becomes something like a hub that connects all the computers. And then one of the ports is connected to one machine we call a server. The server is a special machine that manages all the other computers on the network. This means that with this particular switch, you can connect 24 computers and they can all work together. Without this switch, 24 computers will find it very difficult to talk to each other or to create a network. What do we mean by a network? A network is when the computers come together. All right. Now, this type of networking with a switch, we call it a local area network or a LAN. Please type LAN in the chat for me. LAN, local area network. All right. Okay. So this is what we call a local area network. So this local area network is a network that is found in one local area or one geographical area, such as a company's office or a building. So all the companies in the building can connect to this. All right. What happens when a company wants to connect to another branch of the same company? All right. Another branch of the same company. All right. So for the company to connect to all the computers in another branch, what is going to happen is that in branch 1, they need a switch to connect all the computers. All right, someone is asking, what if there are more than 24 computers? Then you need a switch that has more ports. Or you can combine switches together. But you make sure that all the computers in the company all have access to connect to the switch. In branch 2, we have done the same thing. But this is a local area network, which means that communication is done locally within the building. You cannot connect to a machine outside the network, and the network lives only in the building. Please listen to this. The network lives only in the building. Now listen to this. If you are connecting to another branch, you need to find a way to connect the network in branch 1 to the network in branch 2. Each of them have switches, all right? For that to be possible, you need another networking device called a router. Please type router in the chat for me. Router, put this in the chat for me. Now, with this router, what can happen is that you can join two networks together. So, since this is not a networking class, I'm just going to, you can join two networks together using a router. A router is used to connect to two networks and also route data out and into the network. So what this means is that the more we keep talking about networking, the more devices and the more tools that we will start talking about. I started with an Ethernet cable. All of a sudden, I brought in a switch. All of a sudden, I brought in a router. A time will come, you bring in what is called an access point or an AP. This access point is what allows you to have what we call Wi-Fi or wireless internet. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. just to build a foundation of what the internet is. Please listen to me. Within the company, every machine has found a way to connect their cable to this switch. How is it done? This switch lives in one particular room in the company. We call it the machine room or the server room. In that server room, we have laid cable through the walls into every room in the company. That's how they do it. Inside every room, because we want to manage the cables, we have designed it in a way that you will not even see that the wires are laid. Sometimes they run through the walls or through pipes or through those trunks. So you don't see. And the beautiful part is that when they get to the room, sometimes they connect to a plug or a socket on the wall, just like your electrical socket where you plug your iron or you plug your whatever. We have a network socket that you can plug a cable to. So because we want to manage the cables, we have a long cable that is coming from the server room connected to the switch through your walls to your socket. Then if you want to connect your computer, you have a short Ethernet cable like I showed you, one to your computer, one to your socket. The moment you connect to your socket, you have established a connection with the cable running through the walls. And then your computer goes online. Then you have access to the network. You have access to the network. Please type network in the chat for me. Network. Type network in the chat for me. And I'm saying this because all that I have said about network, I have not mentioned the internet. Okay, I've not mentioned the internet. The fact that there is a network in your office does not mean you have internet. What you have created is a network, and there are different types of networks. Every network requires different devices to set up. You see, a local area network requires certain devices. If you are connecting to another branch, let me show you how this works. If that branch is not too far away and it's on the same campus, let's say in a university, we have one block and another block, and they all have different networks, and we want the two blocks to communicate. Let's say the administration block and the library, we want them to communicate together. We use a router to allow them to communicate. Still, I have not mentioned internet. All right. This type of network is called the same city, but far away. It's in the same city in Ghana, let's say in Legon and in Achimota. If you want the two to connect together, you use a router to facilitate that network. All right. And because of the distance, we call it a metropolitan area network. In networking, you learn about MAN, metropolitan area network. You learn about CAN, campus area network. You learn about LAN, local area network. Then you also learn about WAN, wide area network. And wide area network is when you're connecting to another branch outside the country or outside the city, in a different city altogether or a different region altogether, and different state or across the world in a different continent. We call that wide area network. Now, please listen to me carefully. All the types of networks I've mentioned, they are networks that companies have. One company, because of its size, only is a local area network. Another company, because of its size, operates what we call a campus area network or a CAN. Another company operates a MAN, metropolitan area network. Another company operates a WAN, a wide area network. And all the networks I've talked about, I didn't mention internet. This means that by intentionally finding the right devices to connect your company, Your company can reach different machines at different locations and share resources among themselves. That same way, there was a time in the late 60s that the United States government decided to create a network for their military. They called the network the ARPANET, ARPANET. Please put that in the chat for me. They called it the ARPANET. And this particular network, they brought in specialists to create the most sophisticated network ever because they were preparing for World War III. I'll confirm the actual date. They were preparing for World War III. And in those days, if you have a communication channel, please listen to me, and the enemy infiltrates your communication channel, they have access to your communication and they know your strategies and your plans. Apart from that, the enemy can destroy your communication channel. And when the enemy destroys your communication channels, what it means is that you cannot communicate with your troops. And so you don't know what is going on. And so the United States government decided to create the ARPANET, a very sophisticated network. They brought in professionals and specialists and top engineers to design a network. In networking, we have serious experts. And they created a network that uses a topology that we call the mesh topology. In networking, you learn about topologies. And this particular network with its mesh topology was designed in a way that in the event of a nuclear attack, communication should be able to route through multiple locations to get to its destination, even in the midst of a nuclear attack. So they designed a very sophisticated network across the United States. And these particular networks had machines that were used to send communications among themselves. So they created a sophisticated network for themselves. Remember, when a company creates a network, they are the only ones who have access to that network. And whenever I mention a network, I want you to start thinking of devices and cables. Please type that in the chat for me. Devices and cables. Devices and cables. Please put that in the chat for me. Devices and cables. Because networks are made up of devices and cables. And networks are physical. I'm having a router here. I don't know if you can see this router. It's a Huawei router. This is a physical device, and this is what allows me to have a network where I am. All right. I'm going to explain something to you. A network is a physical interconnection of devices and cables to allow communication to happen. So when they were setting up the internet, please listen to me. They use real networking devices, real machines, routers, switches, access points, web servers, modems, hubs, several devices, okay, with physical cables, and they connected the whole of the United States to create that network. After several years, there was no World War III, and that network, the ARPANET, was becoming a waste. It was a huge investment. So they decided that universities and top government agencies and top companies should use the ARPANET to facilitate their communication. So universities started communicating over the ARPANET. After so many years, they realized how good the ARPANET was and how it facilitated communication. And so they extended it to other countries. And eventually, to cut everything short, they allowed everyone to use that network. And that network is what we call the internet. It is a network that you can connect to and you can talk to every machine in the whole world. So the internet, if you study what the internet is, please listen to me carefully. The internet is a vast global network made up of billions of computers and networking devices that are physically interconnected and interlinked. Please type physically interconnected. That is where the knowledge is. Physically interconnected. Physically interconnected. Physically interconnected. All right. So after you type that, I'm going to mention to you, if you don't already know, that the internet that comes to your country comes through a cable. And that cable runs through the sea to your country. And in your country, there are rail cables that are hidden from sight that brings the internet to your country, that wires your country. The same way a company can wire every office and wire every branch, the whole country has been wired. And the wiring of the country has been given to what we call ISPs, Internet Service Providers, ISPs. Please put ISPs in the chat. Internet Service Providers. In your country, please tell us one ISP in your country. Tell us one ISP in your country. Why one ISP in your country? Okay, let me see one ISP in your country. MTN in Ghana. MTN provides internet. Rocket Telecom, wow, from Uganda. And Telecel in Ghana. Telecel. Safaricom in Kenya. Wonderful. Okay, these ISPs, when the international cable comes to the country, they take over the cable and they wire their own network in the country. And they find customers to sell their services to. So your ISP, listen to me, has what we call towers, cell towers around. They have cell towers around. They have cell towers around. They have cell towers around, like these towers. And these particular cell towers allow communication to come to your country, all right? To come to everywhere. Wherever in the, yes, Starlink is coming to Ghana very soon. Now listen, wherever their cell towers are not, there is no reception. Wherever their cell towers are not, there is no reception. I'm going to explain something to you over here. In Ghana like this, we have some villages that if you go now, there is no network. You can't even make a call. You can't make a call in some villages in Ghana. This means the ISPs have not extended their services to those villages. The reason why in Accra, internet is everywhere is because there are cell towers that are hidden in sites that provide the internet to you, even over the air. The masts, yes. Even over the air. Please listen to me. At the end of the day, I'm just wrapping up what I'm saying here. At the end of the day, all internet connections are done through cable. So the international cables that come to countries, I'll show you the international cables soon. There are cables that run through the sea. And I'll say something and I'll correct myself again and explain my correction. And what I'm going to say is that there is nothing like wireless internet. Okay? So I'm saying that as a shock and then I'll explain it. All the internet connections we have They are physical cables that are wired. So the international cable that comes to your country does not come wirelessly over the air. It comes through cable run through the sea, and they use what we call fiber optic cables. Fiber cables. Please type fiber optic cables in the chat for me. And these fiber optic cables, once they come to the country, the ISPs find a way to, listen to me, they find a way to connect the whole country and get more customers. And they do their connection based on the customers they will get. If there are villages and cities where there are few customers, they will not set up in those villages. Now listen to me. In your country, if you need internet in your office, listen to me. Your ISP will visit your office and they will connect a cable that runs directly from their ISP station, their office, to your home or your office. Listen to me. They will run a cable. Please type cable. They'll run a cable. Listen to me. Because your computer is going to communicate with the internet or your local network. I'm giving a lot of information here. Listen to this. If you are a company, I told you that your local network does not mean you have internet. However, you can bring internet into your company, all right? And your local network can communicate with the internet, which is also a different network. When I started, I mentioned that when two networks want to communicate, they use a device called a router. You remember that? And so your local area network, for it to communicate with the internet, which is also another network, which is a form of a wide area network, you also need a router. So anytime your ISP comes to your office or your home, they are going to give you a router. Please listen to this. This particular router will come with a physical connection. And this router that they will give you connects directly to their pole and their wiring from your office or your home straight to their office, which connects to the world, the whole global internet. Now, let me explain something here. The moment the internet is connected to this router for you, they will leave this router in your home. Once this router reaches your home, there is another device called access point, what I showed you previously, access point. Please type access point in the chat for me, access point. All right. This access point, listen to me. This access point is a special device that is able to broadcast a network wirelessly. Listen to what I said. An access point is able to broadcast a network wirelessly. And so when the cable comes to the access point through a cable, you can choose to connect to the network over the air. Let me explain that. This is where we get Wi-Fi from. Before I continue with the explanation, I want to talk about combo devices or combination devices. Today, just as we learned about firewalls that we have all-in-one firewalls, today, a router is also an access point. Listen to me carefully. A router is also an access point. You can see the ports over here. I don't know if the ports are showing. A router is also a switch. If I need only 4 ports, I don't need to go and buy a switch. If I need only 4 ports, I don't have to go and buy a switch because a router is also a switch. A router is a modem. A router is an access point all in one box. Let me explain it this way. You see your smartphone. Do you know that your smartphone is a telephone? Yes, you tell me it's a telephone. Do you know that the same smartphone is a radio? Yes, you know it's a radio. You know your smartphone is a calculator. Do you know that your smartphone is a modem? Do you know that your smartphone is a game? Do you know that your smartphone is a camera? How is it that a lot of devices are put in one device? With the advancement in technology, this router you see is also an access point. This is why when your ISP comes and they give you this router, you can connect to the router wirelessly. Listen carefully. The wireless connection you are getting is what we call Wi-Fi. Listen to my point over here. Wi-Fi is not direct connection to the internet wirelessly. No, 1,000 times no. Wi-Fi is not a direct connection to the internet wirelessly, because I said there's nothing like wireless internet, and I'm going to explain it. If you connect to Wi-Fi, it means you are connecting a wireless device to an access point. And the wireless communication that takes place is between the distance of this device and the access point, not between this device and the internet. Listen to me, I'm going to explain it. The wireless communication is between this device and this access point. So sometimes we call the access point, I'm referring to a router as an access point. Why am I doing that? Because a router is also an access point. Listen. The amount of connection you get when you connect to a Wi-Fi depends on how close or how far you are from the access point. It's also called a hotspot sometimes. If you are too far, your signal becomes weak. I'm sure you've noticed that. If you are too close, if you are very close, your signal becomes strong. All right, please listen to me. Listen to me. The reason why your laptop or your phone can connect to the internet wirelessly is because you are communicating with an access point and your data exchange is between your device and the access point. But listen to me, the access point continues the communication with a cable. Listen to me, the access point continues the communication with a cable. That is why in your office, they brought a cable and they put a cable in the router for you, or the access point for you, the router. All right. When you study networking, you study different functions of different devices. A router has its job to route data over networks. And for you to get to the internet, because you are communicating with two networks, you need a router. You also need a modem. A modem is called modulator, demodulator, to modulate your analog signal and to demodulate it and convert it to digital signal, and to do that vice versa. So there's a device called modulator, demodulator, which we call modem. And a modem is not what you are thinking of, that small thing that you connect to a machine to get into. That is not a modem. That is a dongle or a small modem. This one is also a modem. So every device has its own function. The function that provides you with wireless internet is called an access point. And the access point can be a standalone device, or the access point can be put in a router for you. The point I'm making here is that the internet that you are getting is actually through a cable, because from here, a cable runs from here to the pole, which runs to the office of your ISP. And your wireless communication is just in your room or your building, between this and your phone, not between your phone and the internet. All right. My second point is this, and then I'll finalize it with the main point. Listen to me. Apart from access points, we also have what we call masts. which are placed on cell towers. Please put on cell tower. Write cell tower in the chat for me. Cell towers or cell tower. Cell tower or cell towers. Please put that in the chat for me. All right. These cell towers are mounted at places, usually on high-level places like mountains, around your city, sometimes in view and sometimes in out of view. I'm sure you've seen a cell tower in your city. Maybe you don't know what it does. Okay. But this particular cell tower is able to broadcast network signals through what we call cellular network. Please type cellular network. I didn't say circular. Cellular, cellular, cellular network. Cellular network. Good. All right. This particular cellular network, listen to me. This cellular network is a communication between the devices on the cell tower and the SIM card in your device. Okay? The SIM card and the antenna in your device, your phone, will communicate with the cell tower that you don't know where it is. You don't know where it is. But this cell tower can broadcast strong signals to a whole area, or I don't say city. City is too much. To one whole community. All right. And anyone in that community with a SIM card in a device with a proper antenna can communicate wirelessly with a cell tower. Please listen to me. You are still not communicating with the internet directly. You are communicating with a cell tower. When this cell tower technology started, they started with 1G, 2.1G, and we moved to 3G. All right? We moved to 3G. And the 3G is called the third generation of cellular wireless mobile telecommunications network or technology. And it was an upgrade from the 2.5G and the 2.5G GPRS networks, offering faster data transfer speeds. And this 3G network is primarily used with mobile phones and handsets to connect to the internet and enable voice and video calls, data downloads, uploads, and web browsing. It is the 3G or the cellular network that allows you to even connect to make phone calls and also connect to the internet through the cellular network. If you are using 3G, you don't get a high-speed connection. You get a maximum of 7.2 megabits per second because internet speed is measured in bits per second, not bytes per second. So if you have 7.2 megabits per second, you will have internet, and if you are watching videos, it will be buffering from time to time. Several years ago, all we had was a 3G. And so those days we were not enjoying YouTube and we're not enjoying TikTok and those things that were not even around. Until we got to what we call 4G. And 4G is an upgrade of the cellular mobile technology following 2G and 3G that came before it. And when the 4G was released, it quickly revolutionized how mobile internet works, paving the way for the extensive use of sophisticated devices and provides download speed approaching 50 megabits per second. It was this time that we invented the term broadband, because broadband internet refers to high-speed internet. So when you learn about internet connectivity, which in the networking class you learn that we have what we call broadband, and broadband refers to an internet speed. If you do research on what is broadband in the United States, they'll tell you that if you don't have between 10 megabits per second to 40 megabits per second, that network is not called a broadband. This was a time when YouTube became popular and so normal because we can browse YouTube without worry. We can now use TikTok and all the video calls. We can make video calls. We can watch videos on the internet. It was because of the 4G cellular network. Then there is what we call the 5G, which is now starting. And this 5G, just like AI and IoT and virtual reality and augmented reality and modern technology, 5G is going to change the world. 5G is a network that is going to change everything. And we are just in the beginning of 5G. There are only a few countries who have started using 5G. It is being said that when 5G is fully launched, a time will come. If you need an Uber, you don't need a phone to order an Uber. You can just open your mouth and say Uber, and Uber will come. That is a strange thing. Watch some videos about 5G, and you are going to be enlightened about what is coming, the cellular technology that is coming. All right, let me summarize everything. All these cellular communications that I'm talking about, the reason why with your phone and your SIM card, you can turn on your mobile data, you can go online, is because you are communicating with a cell tower, you don't know where it is. Now, let me tell you, the cell tower is communicating with the ISP through a cable. Please type cable in the chat for me. Please type cable in the chat for me. Cable, 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 cable. Thank you very much. This is why I said there's nothing like wireless internet. The reason why you see your cellular network as wireless is because you are talking to a cell tower that is close to you, just like the access point in your home or your office. But that cell tower is continuing the communication with a cable. There's a cable that runs from the cell tower to the ISP. And so when you think about it, the internet is actually a connection of cables and cables and cables throughout the country, throughout the whole wide world. I'm going to show you one or two videos, and I'll show you the cables that is coming to your country for you to see. Let me show you one or two videos, and then we will do this. And I'm just mentioning this to let you understand that there's a difference between the internet and the web. Once we have an understanding of the internet, then we'll talk about the web. So I'm going to play this video for you to watch now. So let me share this with you, and we will get started, because this journey we are embarking on right now, we are going to learn how to control the internet and the web.
What is the internet?
The internet is like a popular thing.
Some satellites up there.
I picture in my head with like waves of internet going to the phone.
Somebody told me a cloud once.
The internet is a lot like plumbing. It's always moving.
Most people don't have any idea where the internet came from, and it doesn't matter. They don't need to. It's sort of like asking who invented the ballpoint pen or the flush toilet or, the zipper. These are all things we just use every day, and we don't even think about the fact that one day somebody invented them. So the internet is just like that. Many, many years ago, in the early 1970s, my partner Bob Kahn and I began working on the design of what we now call the internet. It was a result of another experiment called the ARPANET, which stood for Advanced Research Projects Agency Network. It was a Defense Department research project. Paul Barron was trying to figure out how to build a communication system that might actually survive a nuclear attack. So he had this idea of breaking messages up into blocks and sending them as fast as possible in every possible direction through the mesh network. So we built what eventually became a nationwide experimental packet network, and it worked. Is anybody in charge of the internet?
The government controls it.
Elves, obviously elves.
The people who control the Wi-Fi, because then no Wi-Fi, no internet. T-Mobile, Xfinity. Bill Gates. Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Right?
The honest answer is, well, nobody, and maybe another answer is everybody. The real answer is that the internet is made up of an incredibly large number of independently operated networks. What's interesting about the system is that it's fully distributed. There's no central control that's deciding how packets are routed or where pieces of network are built or even who interconnects with whom. These are all business decisions that are made independently by the operators. They are all motivated to assure that there is end-to-end connectivity of every part of the network, because the utility of the net is that any device can communicate with any other device, just like you want to be able to make phone calls to any other telephone in the world. There's nothing like this that has ever been built before. The idea that what you know might be useful to somebody else or vice versa is a very powerful motivator for sharing information. By the way, that's how science gets done. Share information. This is an opportunity for people to think up new applications, maybe program them as apps on a mobile phone, maybe become part of the continued growth of the infrastructure of the network to bring it to people that don't have access to it yet, or just make use of it on a day-to-day basis. You can't escape from contact with the internet, so why not get to know it and use it?
Where does the internet come from?
Where does the internet come from?
Not sure? Okay, let's start with the basics. The internet is a global network of interconnected computers used to deliver that vast collection of digital pages we call the World Wide Web. They're not the same thing. It's actually an enormous system of cables, real physical cables, traveling all around the world, connecting our devices to the servers that store the pages we want to view. How does it work? First, your device needs to connect to your internet service provider's network. Congratulations, you're now part of the internet. By entering the address of the website you want to visit, you send an electronic request for information over your phone line or cable to your ISP. The ISP sends the request to a server further up the chain, a domain name server or DNS, which acts as a kind of directory. The DNS looks for a match for the address you've typed in. When it finds it, the request is sent to the server hosting that website. That server could be in a different country, so the request needs to travel along cables both under the ground and under the sea to reach its destination. Yep, it really does go under the sea. These subsea fiber optic cables literally connect the world, linking continent to continent, with the exception of Antarctica. 95% of international digital traffic travels this way. Just think, most of your tweets and emails have been underwater. Running under the seabed, these thousands of kilometers of fiber optic cable are known as the internet's backbone. Without them, the global internet just wouldn't work. Amazingly, they're only as thick as a garden hose, making them prone to the occasional shark bite. So, if your internet's slow, blame a hungry shark. It's never a big problem though. The cable network's so vast, the request simply reroutes. Contrary to popular belief, the internet is never down. The request finally reaches the data center housing the server where the website lives. The server sends the requested information back across the network, broken down into chunks of data called packets, which your device puts back together like a jigsaw to form the web page you see on your screen. And all this happens in the blink of an eye, all over the world, millions of times per second.
All right. So with just a blink of an eye, you communicate with servers that are thousands of miles away. What is this supposed to mean? This means that anytime you go online, please listen to this. When you are on a website, now that we are going to learn about websites, we are going to be the one behind this, okay? The website is actually sitting on a server, and the server could be in the United States. But you own the website here. Or let's not talk about owning. You are visiting the website from Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria, but you are talking to a server in the US. This means that anytime you click on anything, your request travels to the United States and back before the page will open. The request really travels from your device to your ISP, to their DNS server, to their data center, to the server, no matter where it is. The server responds and sends the data packet, and they route it to your device through your web browser before you see it. So when your internet is so fast and you click and it loads, you click and it loads, you don't know that it has gone to the US and back in just a blink of an eye. The whole point is this. The internet is made up of real cables. I went to a website called the Submarine Cable Map, and the map I'm showing you is the real internet connection globally. These are the cables that are running the world. These are the cables of the internet. All right, so for us to talk about the web, let's talk about internet. Let me take you to Ghana. And you see that the internet, the cable bringing internet to Ghana, you can see it right here. There are 4 cables. This is to Africa cable. This was called West African Cable System. This is called the main one. This one is called the South. Are you seeing this? I don't know if you are seeing this. Are you seeing what I'm showing you? So, the whole country, Ghana, I'm showing you how we get our internet. This is called Glow. Glow has a dedicated line. Well, this one is called Africa Coast to Europe. All right. So this is the internet to Ghana. The ISP, this is where they start their business from. They connect to this internet that goes to the world. And they have set up their towers, their broadband cables running from their offices to our homes and our offices. And we all connect to the ISP, and the ISP also communicates with this line. Togo has its own cables. How many cables go to Togo? 3 cables. You can check this site yourself, submarinecablemap.com. Benin, let's see Nigeria. Nigeria has a lot of cables coming to Nigeria. Wow. Nigeria has the Nigerian Cameroon submarine cable. Did you think of these cables before? 6 months ago, we were here in Ghana, and we were told that there's something wrong with the main cable supplying the country. So there was no internet in the country for how many days? Who remembers? Towards the end of February or March, no, it was in March. There was no internet in Ghana. The worst thing that nobody could think of happened. A week. Yes, Tony. Ghana had no internet for a week. Can you imagine a whole country, no network is working for a week? It happens to in Liberia too. Yes. It was a terrible time for us. Why am I showing you all this? I'm showing you this for you to know that the internet you use, they are cables. Can you see them? They run the whole world. These are the real cables. These are not diagrams I'm showing you. These are the real cables coming to your country. So what is the internet? The internet is a vast network. Just like we have a local area network in a company, we also have what we call the internet. It started as a military project and now became a global network, a vast global network. And these cables are running through the sea. So this is the internet. They are physical cables. When we say physical, it means you can hold it with your hands. If you want to disconnect it, you can unplug it with your hands. It is a network. So when you start learning about networking, you start networking simple devices. But experts have networked the world. And now we all have access to that network called the internet. So if this is the internet, what is the web? The web is not the internet. This explains what we call hardware and software. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to 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 ask you a question. Watch this. Now, what you see in my hand, what is it called? What is this called, if you can see it? Pen drive. Simple. Flash, USB flash drive. Simple. Simple. I like that. It's okay. All right. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think we have data on this device, this hardware? This is hardware. It's physical. Do you think we have data on it? Yes. All right. All right. Thank you for answering that question. Now, this is my next question. This is my next question. Let's call this a USB flash drive or a pen drive. The data on this pen drive, is it the same as the pen drive? Is the data on the pen drive, is it the same as the pen drive? No. Thank you, Albert. So is it right to call the data pen drive? Is it right to call the data pen drive? The data on this. Can you call the data pen drive? No, you can't do that. All right. All right. Now listen to me. When we say the internet, think of the hardware, the physical network, the cables, the machines, the servers, the towers, the routers that form the network. I've pushed my router down. The internet is the physical interconnection of networking devices that form the vast network we call the internet. What is the web? The web refers to the interconnected content that lives on the internet. Wait a minute. On the internet, we have storage locations. On these servers, we store data. Now, the data that lives on the servers, they are also linked and they are also connected. So when we click on a link, a hyperlink, we can request for another data, another web page, another resource, another document, another video, another file. So the interlinking of all the data that we host on the internet, the interconnection of all the data on the internet is what is called the web. Think of the web as the resources you find using the internet as a tool. So on YouTube, you watch a video. The video is not the internet. From that video, you can watch another video through their web application. You can watch another video, another video. So the interconnected resources that we find online is what is called the web or the World Wide Web. The internet is a physical interconnection of devices that make up the network. So the internet is the hardware, the web is the software that we find on the hardware or that we access using the network. Okay, so in the company, you can share files over your network. All right, you can share documents, data over the network. Now, the network makes it possible for you to access all of these resources. All right, but the network is a separate thing on its own before the content we access. Now, since through links, we can connect to all the content. We refer to it as an information system. And this information system is what is called the World Wide Web. This information system is what is called the World Wide Web. So anytime you mention the web, anytime you use the term the web, you are talking about World Wide Web, and it is an information system of interlinked hypertext documents and other digital resources that are accessed via the internet. The network of resources. Network of resources. Interlinked resources. Interlinked resources. Okay, interlinked resources. Please type that for me. Interlinked resources. Interlinked resources. Interlinked resources. Interlinked resources. That's what we mean by the web. What do we mean by these resources? These resources could be documents. There could be videos. You watch videos online. There could be web pages. There could be text. There could be audio. There could be, so all the things that we use the internet for, they are interlinked, and we call that the web. But as a technical person, when you mention the web, you think of what we do online, not the networking. The networking, the physical networking is the internet, and the web refers to the interlinked resources, which we call an information system, which is called the web or www. So anytime you are going online and you type http www, you are saying that provide me with the interlinked resources online, and you provide an address to locate a server. As you move on, you are going to realize that when you are managing a server, the server is different from the content you put on the server. So the content you put on the server, another company has also put a different content on their server. Another company has also put a different content on their server. And if you go to the internet right now, think of all the content online right now. Can you imagine? Let's take a second. Think about all the content online across the globe and try and connect them like a spider web. Think of the content. The content is what we call, the network of the content is what we call the web. And the internet is the infrastructure, the underlying physical infrastructure that makes the communication possible and access to the web possible. We access the web using the internet. We access the web using the internet. We access the web using the internet. I don't know if one person understands what I've said. If one person understands, please tell me that I understand. If one person, I just want one person to understand, and I'm okay. Thank you. All right, so we've seen what the World Wide Web is. And as we are working on websites, we are going to be working with browsers. And so you have to understand that a browser is a window to the web. Okay, so it is called a web browser. If you want to get to the web, you use a browser. When you create a website, a site on the web, when anybody wants to access a website, they need to access it through a browser. And so we talk about web browsers, we deal with web browsers all the time, all right? So we know what a web browser is. It can simply be known as a browser, and it's a software application for accessing or browsing websites, all right? So from now moving forward, be careful when you mention internet and when you mention the web, okay? So I was going to say I don't have to say we use the web browser to browse the internet. Okay, I can say we use it to browse the web. It makes more sense that way, technically. However, sometimes we call it the internet browser. Like I said, is a window to the internet, and so it allows us to communicate um, over the internet. So these are examples of web browsers. We all know them. And if you check the chart over here, from 1993 to 2022, the most popular browser today is Chrome. And when it comes to websites, web application development, software engineering, we use Chrome most of the time than any other browser. So while all these browsers are okay, Safari is there, UC browser, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Opera, while all these browsers are there, Google Chrome is the leading browser for creating web applications and websites, and the leading browser in the world as well. All right. Now, what makes up a website? Okay. So what I'm going to say next is the start of the real practical journey. And I'm starting with a question, what makes up a website? So I'm going to tell you what makes up a website. If today you are tasked to create a website, we are here to learn website creation. If you want to create a website, what should you do? What makes up a website? Now, to be able to put up a website, there are 3 steps you must go through. Please type 3 steps in the chat for me if you can hear me. Since we came back, I've been talking to myself. I don't know if anybody's in the class. Type 3 steps. All right, thank you very much. Now I know you can hear me. All right. So if you want to have a website, there are 3 different things that you should have knowledge about and that you should be able to do. There are companies that specialize in only one. That is what they run as their business. And each of these 3 is a business on its own. So for a website to start working, there are 3 business processes that need to come together. I call it the 3 steps. This is what they are. Step 1 is domain registration. Please put that in the chat for me. Domain registration. That is step 1. Domain registration. Domain registration. Step 1. Without domain registration, you can't have a website. Okay, we are talking about what makes up a website. You can finish designing the website, but if there's no domain name, how do people access the website? So to have a website today, step 1 is domain registration. This means you need to register a domain. Step 2 is called web hosting. Please type that as well. Web hosting. You need to host the website. This is where you put a website online on a server. This is where we deal with servers. This is the business of dealing with servers and working with servers. And so this is where you put your website on a server and the details that come with that. The setup, the configuration, the knowledge about servers you need to have. This means for you to have a website and to be someone who creates websites, you need to have knowledge about domains in general. So in the next 3 days, we are learning all about domains, everything under the sun that you should know about domains. That's what we are going to learn. And domains or domain is a business on its own. And in this training, I'll be talking more in terms of businesses or business or the business of what we are learning. Okay, the business of what we are learning. And I will take you as someone who is going to set up a business to provide web services to clients, because this is how this particular training is designed. That is why I said when we are done, you need to find a client. So there is a business of domain names and domain registration. Then we have web hosting, where you deal with servers and putting the site online. Then the third step is website design or website designing. Please put website designing in the chat for me. Website designing. Please put that in the chat for me. Website designing. Please put that in the chat for me. Website designing. This means designing the website is a different process or component on its own. You can finish designing your website locally, and you are the only one who sees it. As a web designer who is working locally, you can finish your website 100%. It's fully functional. But you are the only one who sees it. For example, it's like, let's say you are a musician. Let me use a musician as an example who has created an expensive music video, traveled to the Caribbeans, hired helicopters, hired boats, hired a lot of cars, hired a lot of crew to work on a very, very expensive music video. Now, if you don't put that video on TV or social media, will someone see it? Will the video go out? Will people see it? The answer is no. Although you have your powerful video, you are the only one who is watching it. But that's not the purpose of the music video. The purpose is to put it out there for people to watch it. It's like working on a movie. Movies are more expensive. You don't publish the movie, who can see it? It can be the best, but you are the only one who is seeing it. All right. And so after designing it to connect it to the web for others to see, you need to bring in the component of web hosting and bring in the component of domain registration. And so in this training, we are going to go through a domain training, domain names training. We are going to go through web hosting training. We are going to go through web designing training and the business or the businesses of each one of them. Because each one is a business on its own and you understand it so.
Everyone needs a domain name.
Let me play this video in VLC for you to see it well. Hear it actually. Sure you can see it, but I want you to hear it well. So let me share my video so you can see it well.
Everyone needs a domain name. Whether Everyone needs a domain name. Whether it's for business or personal use, a domain brings instant credibility to any business or anything you choose to register. Once your domain is registered, you can use it for email or go on to create a website to sell products, post photos, videos, resumes, and more. You can register the name of your latest idea. Got something new? A new business idea, organization, product, maybe even an invention? Then register that name now. Protect your personal name. Register the domain before anyone else does. You can register the names of family and friends, even pets and babies. Yep, that's right. Many people now register the names of newborns as a cool new digital birth certificate for this web-centric world. So let the world find you with a domain name. GoDaddy.com makes it fast, easy, fun, and affordable.
All right. So we are going to talk about domain names and how domains are registered. Now,
Everyone.
what is a domain name? A domain name is simply the address of a website. Please type that in the chat for me. This is the first thing we are learning here. A domain name is simply the address of a website. So, as we say website addresses, as webmasters, we call it domain names. Okay, a domain name is the address of a website. It is used to locate the website on the internet. That means it is a domain name that we use to find the website. The website is sitting on a server somewhere. The server has an IP address. It's possible to find it with the IP address, but since all your customers cannot memorize your IP address, we have a user-friendly name that customers can remember. And so we call that a domain name. Once you register the domain name, there is a way to link it to a server, linking the domain to a server. We link a domain to a server using something we call name servers. Please type that in the chat. I'll mention it when we get to web hosting, but it's one of the things that should be rooted in your memory. Name servers. However you hear it, just type it that way. Name servers. And it's a term we use or a phrase we use, and it represents something. No matter how it sounds, keep it in mind because we will talk about it, and it's something critical that you need to remember if you want to understand the practicality of connecting names to a server. Now, we mentioned that to put up a website, first you need a domain name. The domain name is simply registration of any simple, memorable name that customers can remember that represents your brand. It's just a name, just a name, your business name, a name that represents your brand. And there are guidelines for choosing the right names. When we get there, we'll probably talk about that tomorrow. Because your name should be simple and memorable. Choosing a name is one of the best things you can do for a business. If you choose a wrong name for your business, it can cost you a lot. When you choose a right name for your business, your company, then you find a domain name that looks like the business name or the brand name, and you register it. How do you register it? That's what we'll talk about tomorrow. After you register it, it's just a name that has been reserved for you. The next thing is to connect it to a server, and that server is where your website is going to be located. Let me use an analogy of a real business. For you to set up a company, let's use a supermarket as an example. You want to register, have a company, a supermarket, that's your company. First, you need to come up with a name of your supermarket. Let's say ShopRite. Let's say that's your name. This ShopRite, you created it. It came from you, okay? It came from you, your dreams, your own creation. Then in your country, there is a business registration organization or agency or authority in your country. Nigeria, how do you call yours? Ghana, we call ours Registrar General. How do you call yours in Nigeria? CAC. What is CAC? Christ Apostolic Church. That's it. Okay. I don't think it's Christ Apostolic Church. Okay. Corporate Affairs Commission. Okay, fine. All right. So in Ghana, we have the Registrar General. You see, you have to go to the Registrar General and reserve your name. After you register it, no one else can take your name or register your name. Because when you go there, you do a name search. If the name you want to register belongs to another company or another business, it will not be given to you. Two companies cannot have the same name. That is why you need to reserve your name by registering it. After you register it, do you have the company? No, you don't have the company. It's just the name that you have taken. The next thing is to find an office, right? You have to find an office where you operate, right? And that office is a physical location, all right? So you have your name, you have your office. Now we are talking about a supermarket, right? Now the supermarket, the shop you get, the size of the shop will depend depend on what you want to sell and the amount of things you want to bring in. But let's assume we are now setting up this supermarket. We have registered the name with the Registrar General. We have the space we want to use for the office. Is the supermarket ready to run? We have the name, we have the office space or the shop. Is it ready to run? Is it ready? I'm just asking. No, it's not ready. What is left? What is left is that you have to bring in the products and you have to decorate the shop, decorate, put all the structures in place, categorize the inventory, everything, the decoration, everything, you see? So if you bring that same analogy to web designing, we have the name registration, that is called domain name registration. Then we have securing the office space. It's the same thing, but online. We call it web hosting, securing the space, because the web hosting is where your website is going to live. Then the third one is designing the website that you want to put in the space. All right. So just like that. Now, a domain name, these are examples of domain names. If we had time, I would have asked you to give me, please put any website address you know of in the chat. I don't want the global ones. Give me any website in your country that you know of. Please put that in the chat for me. I don't want YouTube. I don't want Facebook. I don't want Twitter. I don't want LinkedIn. Just put Rita Africa. That's great. I like that. That's great. All right. So these are domain names. All right. So what is going to happen is that we are going to look at how this gg.ng, that's wonderful. Thank you. All right. Now we will look at the components of a domain name. XYZ. Wow. .edu.ng. Wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Which one else? Uniloring.edu.ng. Wow. Naira big gossip.club.com. Wow. All right. That's wonderful. All right. So you realize that domain names have what we call domain extensions. Domain extensions. This is one important part of what I'm mentioning to you. The domain extension is a suffix at the end of the address. So please type any domain extension you know of. All the domain names you've given me, there's a part of the domain name that is called a domain extension. So something says .org, Boniface says .com, Emmanuela says .com, someone says .com, .ug, no, .ug. Okay, that's Uganda, sorry. .edu.ng. Excellent. We call these ones domain extensions. So back here, you see .net, you see .com, .info, .name, .org. These are all extensions. And it's very, very important because if you choose google.com and google.net, they are two different domain names. Technically, they are two different domain names and they can be used for two different purposes. And if Google has registered .com and they have not registered .net, and someone wants to take google.net, that person can take google.net, and google.net is no way the same as google.com. The extensions make a whole lot of difference. We'll look at that tomorrow. Now, .com represents the word commercial and is the most widely used extension in the world. Most businesses prefer a .com extension because it is a highly recognized symbol for having a presence on the internet. So today, .com is the most popular domain extension. At first, it was meant for, say, commercial, but today, even networking agencies, everybody wants .com. Even NGOs want .com because .com is now so popular and it represents the symbol of having a presence online. So .com is really, really the most popular domain name. Then we have .net. It represents the word network. It's also used by ISPs, web hosting companies, and other networking businesses. We have .org, which represents organization and is primarily used for nonprofits, groups, or trade organizations. And all right, so tomorrow I may mention some other ones, and we'll talk about how to use simple domain names and have the right domain name. And from tomorrow, I'm going to start telling you to find your domain name, okay? Because we are going to talk about starting a web design company, because as part of this training, we are going to start a web design company for you, or you are going to start a web design company. And you are going to take that position for real or just for learning purposes, but I hope you do it for real. And I'll let you get clients. You are going to take the position of a business, a web design business, and then you set up the structures of a web design business. Know how to register domains for your clients, know how to set up hosting for your clients, know how to design websites for your clients. Then we'll talk about how to choose your name. So tomorrow I'll start telling you and I'll give you the assignment to go and dream about a beautiful name after we listen to the components of a good name. Then we will talk about I can. Please put I can in the chat for me. I didn't say I can't. I said I can. I can is an organization, and it's an organization that controls all domain names. So tomorrow we are going to start from here. We'll talk about I can. We'll talk about domain registries, and we are going to continue. Right from tomorrow, you are going to start working and working and working and working and working. And by the time we are done, you will have a business. You have a business. You have a business. Tomorrow, I will mention to you why we have .com. And let me tell you, if you can design websites, oh my goodness, you can have a business that can sustain you. Personally, web design business sustained me for over 10 years. Web designing, just designing websites. All right. So you can start designing websites for schools, for churches. Look at the number of schools you know. It doesn't matter your country, where you find yourself. There are schools, there are churches, there are companies. Every company needs a website. And this training will give you everything you need to be able to create a website for yourself and a website for any client. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's been a very, very interesting session. Thank you all for actively participating. And as I've already mentioned, you have the cybersecurity fundamental certificates. It will be sent in your mail. It will come to your mail, so please check that. And once you receive it, just access the QR code on your phone and the settings. Just check the camera settings and activate the QR code. That way you can scan it and then have it on your phone. Okay, so we send it to your mail by close of today or tomorrow as well. Okay, thank you so much for the time, and apologies for eating into the end time. Thank you so much, sir, for taking us through. Please note that with Slack, we'll have all the videos and the slides on Slack. So you have to actively access it, okay? And then please use your full name and your profile photo, okay? Use your picture and then your full name on Slack. If you've not done that, please do that. That is where we'll be communicating henceforth. And then please take note of that. We'll meet tomorrow, God willing, to continue the lessons. Come prepared. And thank you all so much for actively participating. We'll see you all tomorrow, God willing. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Yes, Slack. Bye.